Welcome to the People Leaders Podcast, the audio resource for managers and business leaders creating high-performing teams. Join leadership and team development experts Jen and Michelle Turkelson each week as they explore both subjects from every angle. Through practical tips, valuable insights, and compelling interviews with leadership experts around the world, you'll learn how to bring out the best in your staff and how to give your best as a leader.
Happy New Year, Michelle.
Happy New Year, Jen. Happy new decade.
Yoo-hoo! I'm so ready for 2020.
Yep.
2019 seemed like you were kind of, tilling the soil and putting a lot of compost in, you know what I mean? So I'm ready for it to sprout. So looking forward to a new energy coming through.
That's right.
So what do we want to talk about today?
Yeah, well, let's talk about setting ourselves up for a successful new year. Every new year, every new week, every minute really is an opportunity. Unlike ever before, actually, this is an opportunity for a do-over. So you can really start your new year off into in heading towards a really successful year ahead. And the way that we do that is by setting yourself up for success in the mornings. There is nothing like getting yourself into a really good ritual or habit in the mornings that will set you up for the day. Then what you find is that it flows on into the week, into the month, and then before you know it, you've had a really successful quarter or 6 months.
And notice we didn't talk about New Year's resolutions because, all the science shows that most New Year's resolutions don't hold because they are large and they create a really big shift in the way in which you operate. And what we're inviting people to do is to create the shift and reset in a way that actually allows them to do micro shifts, micro resets.
That's right. It's all about doing things that are doable. Is it realistic? There's a degree of challenge in it, but it is realistic. And we've found over and over and over again with people who really want to set themselves up for success, start with the physical. And one of the best places to start with your well-being and your physicality is getting a good night's sleep. We are so surprised by how many people don't get enough sleep, and therefore, throughout, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they're really slumpish and they need that coffee or that, extra hit of whatever it is, sugar. And so that's the first one, getting a really good night's sleep.
And so with the good night's sleep, a lot of people talk about the process about going to sleep, turning off your, phone and, your screen time. However, the latest research suggests is what you do during the day. If you can actually get out into the sunlight and get those rays through the through the occipital nerve, it actually highlights different nerve centers in the brain to delineate the difference between the night and day. So it really is important to get out in nature or in the sunlight during the day in order to set yourself up for a good night's sleep. So it actually doesn't start an hour before you go to bed. It starts when you actually wake up.
Absolutely. So what do we do when we wake up? What's a really good process, I suppose, or a habit that we could start to do, build in? And one of them, and it could be mental, physical, emotional, or it could be all three. One of them could be to have that hot water and lemon. There's your physical. Another one could be to do some form of physical activity, whether it's going for a walk, a run, yoga, whatever works for you. Just do something physical to get the blood flowing. And then something mentally and emotionally, it could be to journal, what I appreciate, what I'm looking forward to throughout the day, and what's working for me in my life right now. If you can't write it down, at least get into the process of sitting up and allocating that 3 to 5 minutes to step yourself through asking and answering those questions.
And the important aspect around that is the emotion that you attach to that feeling. So one of the things that I've been doing of a morning is doing a guided meditation, and it's the Louise Hayes morning meditation. And you put me onto that, Michelle, and she steps you through all the things that you can appreciate in your life, even the fact of appreciating the appliances in your house, the people that you're going to come into contact with today. And it's really interesting the difference in my emotional state after I do that meditation.
Yeah, it is. It has absolutely changed. It really has changed the way I look at things, because I'm doing it every morning, it actually carries throughout the day. And so when I do hop in the car and I think, yes, it's running, it's working, it's like, yeah, good. I'm appreciating it in the moment now, because I have set myself up at the beginning of the day to appreciate it. And then so I get that flow and effect. So setting yourself up in the middle of the day, one of the best, at the beginning of the day, is one of the best things that you can do.
The other thing I wanted to share with people is, so we're actually talking about how you can actually set yourself up. Yeah. So reset. The other thing that I think is important is how do you determine if you are moving forward in your life in some way? So where can you quantify progress? Because progress is something that every single individual needs in their life in order to feel satisfied and purposeful and on track. So where can you be really clear about where are you making progress? So as a people leader, are you making progress in the way in which you're having your one-on-one conversations? Are you making progress in the way in which you are setting up your priorities and your time? Are you making progress in the way in which you are running team meetings and having those difficult conversations? Because these are all the elements of creating high performance. And these are some of the things that we deep dive into in our Leadership Essentials program, aren't they, Michelle?
Oh, yeah, really worthwhile. There is something about planning, setting yourself up for success, and keeping it visual. Like, get a sticky note, put it on your laptop and think, these are the 3 things that I'd like to achieve this month, this week. There is something about that visual reminder, keep focusing your attention on, because that's what you will tend to do.
Yeah. Now, Michelle and I also get coaching because any good coach needs to up their ante and stay in integrity. And one of the things that our coach always goes on about is, what are our critical drivers? What are the 3 big rocks that we're working on? And again, reminding us to keep it visual. And the interesting thing in the corporate world is that everyone is really focused on results, delivering results, but the only thing that you can truly be responsible and accountable for are your actions. And that's what we're looking at. So what are the actions that you can do today in order to progress? So I think that's a really important aspect to focus on, is what are your actions and behaviours.
Correct. Now, again, we want people, leaders, to focus on themselves first. So it's all about, that put your own oxygen mask on first. And what we want you to do in your first week or 2 back is focus on setting yourself up for success. Yep. Because if you can set yourself up for success, you're a better role model. You've got some processes in place. People can then dovetail, the report to you can then dovetail into your processes, because there's already flow and momentum working. So really, we want you to focus on yourself and your goals for the first week or 2 back into getting into a really good rhythm for 2020.
And maybe just to wrap it up, Michelle, the 5th one would be, what are some quality questions that you can ask yourselves to ensure these things are in place? So, for example, what you just mentioned, what do I need to do to set myself up for success? Who do I need to be in this situation, or who do I need to be today in order to have this conversation or to present this new idea or influence an outcome at a team meeting? So set yourself up and start to have a toolkit of quality questions that you can ask yourself, and then you can actually use those in your the start of your day. So you know how you mentioned, Michelle, that people, you know, like write down the things that they appreciate. They can write some of those questions out too. So again, a lot of these things that we talk about are setting you up to be a success, not only in life, but also in the way in which you are leading your life and leading other people. And these are all the things that we cover in Leadership Essentials, because ultimately, you know, you want to be self-led and create leaders in your team. And you need to have a certain level of emotional intelligence, awareness, resilience, and well-being in order to do that. So shall we just recap, or did you want to add anything, Michelle?
Yeah, just a rounding out in terms of what we want to try and do is create these really worthwhile habits. And a habit is just a behavior that you repeat over and over again until it becomes a part of, you know, your operating rhythm. And that's what we're trying to do. So it's really important to start small, link it to something that you're already doing, write it down, keep it visual. So that's what we're trying to do here, is to set you up for success in 2020 by creating or tweaking and some really new worthwhile habits.
So on that, Michelle, before we round out, what is like one or two habits that you do for your, you know, like professional life, or to actually get you moving in that direction that you want to go?
Oh, definitely. It is writing down the things that I want to achieve. It's keeping a calendar and keeping it visual, because, you know, I know that when I have things visual, then I focus on them and I'm moving in the direction of those things, because they are in my sight, in my light of sight, whether they're yellow sticky notes, which I love, sticky notes, have them everywhere. That's what works for me.
Great.
What about you, Jen?
Okay. Well, I'm so glad you asked. The thing about, for me, that's been working is asking the question around, who do I need to be? So, for example, if I want to create a business or a team that is empowered and they're clear, it's like, am I acting in a way that is fostering what I actually want to create? Like, who do I need to be, the behaviours? And so if I was to video myself in this situation, is that the person that I'm actually seeing? And so that's the thing that's helping me. So when I go into a little bit of fear around, you know, asking a client something or stepping into an area that I'm not comfortable with, who do I need to be in that situation allows me to kind of like embody those actions and behaviours. Okay, so let's recap. The first one was get a good night's sleep.
Yep.
The second one was have a rhythm first thing in the morning. So again, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, it's either, you know, doing the meditation, having some sense of appreciation, having that hot water and lemon, doing some yoga or going for a walk. The next one is being able to map out your progress. So whether or not, you know, you've got a plan and make it visual. And then the fourth is have clear actions and behaviours that will allow you to progress what you've actually stated. And then the fifth one is refer or have a toolkit of quality questions that you can ask yourself. You know, who do I need to be in this situation? What do I need to do today to set myself up for success? What do I need to communicate to my team in order for them to feel empowered? And when you have a toolkit of questions, it actually allows people to broaden their perspective and the way in which they, you know, view the world.
And you know what, Jen, here's a challenge for everyone. If you could do that and adopt those 5 practices for 1 month and let us know how you go, I have absolutely no doubt that that will change in such a positive way. The momentum for you in 2020 is going to be amazing. If you could do those 5 things every day for a whole month, and then let us know. And it's almost like, trust us now, thank us later. It will absolutely, be transformational. I've no doubt about that.
And it's interesting. So when we're being coached and our coach invites us to do a certain action, at the back of my mind, I go, yeah, I do that, but I don't know that I'm that comfortable about doing this other thing. I don't know that I really believe that that's really going to make an impact. However, we don't necessarily articulate or share that. It's just those little thoughts that bubble up in our head. So I want you to think, when we actually go through that list, what was that one thing you think, really? Because I bet that's the thing that will make the biggest difference to you. All right. So just notice what's coming up for you in that.
That's great.
Okay. So I'll see you on the flip side. We are very, excited about 2020, and we are really keen for anyone who is interested in being part of our Leadership Essentials program to jump on board, make contact with us. Some of the testimonials that we've received from our first course has been fantastic.
And we loved it. And we loved meeting all these new people and working with them over that period of time. It was really good, and we want to continue doing that with more of you.
Absolutely. And the big things was the habits that they've started to employ, not only at work, but at home. I know, yeah. So it's really changed who they are. Yeah. So onward and upwards.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the People Leaders Podcast. For show notes and other resources, please visit us at peopleleaderspodcast.com. And while you're there, you can subscribe for future episodes so you can continue your own leadership journey. And please be sure to share this and other episodes with your friends and colleagues. The People Leaders Podcast is brought to you by the Experts on Air Podcast Network.